Hello my friends and welcome to the island of Gooseberry. Today we are going to be building a cul-de-sac villager neighborhood for Eunice, Goldie, Poppy and Deirdre. I honestly needed a place that would house a lot of the villagers because at this point I was running out of space on my island, as I still am, even more so because this build turned into quite a big build. But I was really happy that I was able to fit in 4 villages and still have like quite a lot of space to decorate, as you will see. This turned into such a fun build because I just love symmetry. I think it is so satisfying to build and just so much fun. But it started off kind of stressful because I made quite a lot of progress and then I realized that the measurements weren't really working. I think it was like I couldn't fit 4 houses, I could only fit 3 or something like that. And I had to make that decision to restart. And I was so annoyed with myself, but then I was so glad that I restarted because it turned out pretty much exactly how I wanted it to, which is really cool. Also, I do just want to extend a formal apology to everybody for how I am placing the path in this video. I know it's quite frustrating to watch. I know there are times when I just miss a random spot for seemingly no reason. And sometimes I don't fill it in. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. It was, I was trying to get my head around it. I was trying to get my head around how to do the path, how to measure it all out. But for the next one, I promise I will try to make it a more satisfying experience. It took me so long to finalize the design of the villager house exteriors because I wanted them to look cohesive, like they're all part of the same neighborhood, but I didn't want them to look exactly the same. Throughout the video, you'll probably see little changes happening to them here and there in the background because I kept editing them a little bit, like changing the color of the door or the roof, like for quite a while after I had actually placed the houses. When I was making this, I realized that I barely have any toadstools around the island, which had to be fixed immediately because this is an autumn island and toadstools are just some of my favorite things in general. But also, I just love the mush parasol in that colorway, so I made it the star of the show of this build. And I wanted to make the whole build toadstool themed, which was a little bit of a challenge because the items are quite natural, whereas the whole build is pretty much like a part of a town. So what I ended up doing is having more natural areas on either side of the build that kind of incorporated the toadstools peeking out here and there, which is something I've been doing throughout the whole island actually, because I just love the aesthetic of having some areas which are super structured and town-like, but then other areas which are a little bit more organic and overgrown, which I think is kind of, I don't know, maybe realistic to how a real town might be, because I feel like there could be fields or parks or little bits on the edge of town which might be a little bit more natural, even if you have like, a shopping district and like neighborhoods and things like that. I love the idea of there being a cute little picnic spot in the neighborhood. Even though it's in front of Eunice's house, I imagine all the villagers coming here and just like reading a book or doing their crafts or having a little tea. I think it's just such a cozy little thing to have there. At this point, I am deciding between a couple different design codes for the picnic blanket, and there's this one moment where I miss a spot and it actually creates a really cute patchwork design made of 2 of the custom codes. So actually, there is a benefit to my chaotic path placement because I ended up really loving this and keeping it. I wasn't originally going to have pumpkins in this build because the color I was focusing on was red, but when I was putting the finishing touches on it, I just felt like it really needed something more to tie it back to the rest of the island's like motifs. So I ended up popping some pumpkins around the place and I think it really did make it look more cohesive. And we're all done. So you enter the area through this little walkway and then we've got the centerpiece with the bench. I love how much space there is to walk around and I just love all of the little red accents. So I've got the picnic area here in front of Eunice's house. I've set it up to look like somebody's doing some writing. Oh yes, Goldie's taking a picture. She likes it. And then we've got Goldie's house up here. And to the left of her house, there's a little bit of a natural area. I tried to make it look like the path was kind of like wearing away into nature, and actually that little tile, which looks like an older version of the tiles in my path, isn't even by the same creator. Like, I just happened to find it and it fit perfectly to make it look like some bits were a little bit more worn down or old. Also with the telephone box, something that I really like when people do is when they have like an item which you wouldn't expect to be in a certain place, but it somehow really fits. So that was my kind of attempt to do that with the telephone box. I wasn't sure if I should put it here because I was like, why would there be a telephone box in front of a waterfall? But I think it looks really cute. And then if we go this way, we have got a little chess area for the residents to play. And this is Deirdre's house. So she's got a little tiny library, and up this way is going to be a forest, but I haven't made it yet. And if we go back this way, this is a bin, but I kind of like to pretend that it's like a community post box. And this is Poppy's house. So she's just got some muffins, and over here next to Poppy's house is a secret little community garden. I didn't put it in the speed build because the process of making it was just kind of all over the place really. Like, I had to start over a couple times. I didn't really build it like in stages that really would make sense in a speed build. And also the shape was kind of like, it was a slightly small space and also like an unusual shape. So it was just a tricky little area, but I really liked how it turned out. So I did want to show you guys anyway. Oh, Mr. Rossetti, hello. And then there's a little flower field over here. And yeah, that's the build. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this build and maybe it gave you some inspiration for your own island. I'll see you next time. Bye!